All right, we shall need adding data to the database. Then before we add the data to the database, let us add a function to connect to the database. So we shall add a function to connect to the database. Okay, so db connection, db connection, or database connection. So we shall write a function for it too. Okay, and this function is going to take in variables. Like a variable is a container that carries data in a database in a programming language. So that variable, we are calling it localhost or server name. The server name is going to store content called localhost. Localhost is the server name. Then we shall also need to store something to do with the user name. It's going to store content which is root. Then we shall need the password, which is going to be our password. So you realize that this time around I don't have a password to my server, so I will leave it blank. Then I will need a database, db equal to, what's the database name? Okay, just put it database name. Database name. All right, now realize that one thing I would love always to remember is that do not leave spaces. Okay, have it as one word, or if not, you want to differentiate, have it as 2 words, but the second word is capital. Okay, whichever way that you've selected to use, as long as there are no spaces, as long as it doesn't start with a number, do not do that. Okay, you put a number, it will recognize it as an error. Okay, so don't put a number. All right, and don't start with this space. All right, doesn't work. However, you can start with an underscore, it is recognized. All right, so that is for the variables. Okay, so this is for database connection. Then we need a code to connect to this database. The code that connects to the database, let me just comment this. This one is configuration to the database, to the server. Okay, so that's my configuration to the server. So we shall need a code that is going to connect to the database. Okay, shall say connection to the database, to the server and the database, to the server and the database. So the code that connects to the server and the database is my SQLi. We're going to use SQLi underscore and then say connect. Then this is a function and it shows you the string. Okay, the string, and the first parameter it will take is going to be our server name. So $server name. Then the second parameter it's going to take, it's going to be our username up there, which is a root. Okay, so we shall select $username. So, and then the third parameter is the password. So we select password. The fourth parameter is the database name. So we select $database name. That's all you need, and then we close and we terminate. So with that code, our connection is established. However, we need to test whether it is established or not to be sure. So we shall store all this in a variable called con, and then we store it there. Okay, and then we shall do the testing. If it is not con, if it is not $con, meaning the connection has failed, then we echo connection failure. Okay, then we can as well echo something to do with which kind of connection, what's the problem with it. So MySQLi error. Okay, the error that we need to be able to catch is coming from the connection, so the $con, and then we terminate. Okay, so this is what we call a concatenation character. A concatenation character is a character that helps to bond a variable and text, or a variable and another, or text and another variable. Okay, that's a concatenation character. So a concatenation character, dot, is used in PHP as a concatenation character. Okay, so I'm saving changes made, and now I need a way to ensure that this function is fired. Okay, or it is called. So I copy, Control C to copy, and then I need to put it to my code direct somewhere there. Okay, I need to put it somewhere instead of this. For now, let me delete it and then check. Then I need to do that. So it says unexpected end of file on line 23. Line 23, unexpected end of file. So unexpected end of file, when we look at this, it means that we have ended the file unexpectedly. So let's check the syntax. The syntax, I opened the brackets and I have closed the brackets. However, inside I have opened the brackets and I have not closed the brackets. So that's the syntax error. Okay, so when I correct that, if I don't remove it, you might not necessarily see, but the code shows there is an error here. Okay, but the rest of the code here is okay. Okay, the error is happening at that point, and when I put it right, the code disappears, the error disappears. Okay, that way we can tell whether the code actually is successful or not. Okay, so that's the way we can check for the errors. Okay, so let us refresh the page and we see. All right, so it says, okay, the code is okay, there is no error somewhere. Okay, so let us pass on. When you look at this code, yes, the code is okay, but the function is not giving results. The code executes, but there are no results given out, so that other functions can use it. We want the function to execute and it gives us results, so that those results are used by other functions. So the results, to enable the function to give us results, we return. So we put the word return. returning what? We want to return the connection. Okay, that's the results we want, returning a connection. So we return a $con. That's the connection that we would wish the system to always return back to us. Okay, so there, as long as we have the return, the system will just work fine, very fine. Okay, so this time around, let us just add data to our database. Adding category to a database. Okay, so this is adding, this is a comment. Okay, adding data to the database. Table, database table of categories. Categories. Let's verify. Okay, the table is categories. Okay, which is okay. All right, so let us now do some adding of data. So we shall select SQL. SQL is just a variable. You can name it anything. So this SQL variable is going to, let us terminate instantly to avoid those errors. It's going to insert. You're going to use the word insert. Insert is a keyword. Insert into, we are adding values. Insert into categories. That is the table name. Categories. Okay, the values. We are inserting them into categories, the values, and these values that we are adding, we are enclosing it in one set of brackets. When I look at my database and I look at the structure of the shop, the I categories, okay, when I look at the structure, it is category name, okay, category ID, which is auto number. Then we have the category name, which is var character. So auto number is auto increment. That means this auto number, I don't need to enter it. It's going to generate itself. Then we have the category name. The category name is going to be entered manually. Then we have the shelf name, which is also going to be entered manually. Okay, so possibly in my interface there's something that I did not add, the shelf name. Wow. So shelf name, I'm just going to press Ctrl M. Okay, I'm pressing my cursor there or there, and I'm pressing Ctrl M. Ctrl M helps to insert. Okay, let me just do it manually. So Ctrl M to insert a row. Okay, so I just need to shift this there, and possibly I need to, just a moment, insert another row. So we have category name, and then we have the shelf name. We had not put for the shelf. Alternatively, you can have this entire code shifted there, and then we have the shelf name shifted there. Have the shelf name, and the shelf name is going to be entered at this point there. Okay, so what's the name of the shelf? This is cuts, and then the name of the shelf, we shall just take shelf. Okay, and then our message is going to be there. All right, so we merge cells. All right, okay, save changes made, and then we go back to this. So the first variable is going to be an auto number, so there's nothing special that I'm going to be entering there, so I leave it blank. So I put a comma, and then the second one, I need to enter some data there. Okay, so this is going to be considered as a variable, as text. Okay, so I need to enclose it in double quotations. So single quotations outside and then double quotations inside, and then within the single double quotations I put two concatenation characters. Then inside the two concatenation characters is where I insert the variable that is capturing, or we are capturing from this. What is its name? Click at it, copy this. Okay, if you are using earlier data versions, you should be able to see cats in name somewhere. Okay, within, just look at the word name in your properties. Okay, and then copy that name there, and that's what we shall be filling in here. All right, but as you fill it in there, you need to make a consideration of the form. Okay, which method is it using? It is using a method of post. All right, so we are taking in this data like this. We are taking the system, we are pushing data using a method of post, and we are pushing this data in. What is carrying the data is called cats. The method it's using is post, and we are taking in the cats as something that is carrying the data. Okay, so that's the first element. So you separate it with a comma, and then we are taking another element, another control. So this control is this. Okay, shelf. So check your name and copy what is on the name. Okay, and then go back to your PHP, and then there I need quotations, then enter into quotations, put double quotations, enter into double quotations, put concatenation characters, and then you put $_post. You're using a post method. Okay, and then inside there you paste your shelf. Okay, so that's the code that's how the code will look like. And we want to tell the system that this is not simply a text, this is an this is a query. Okay, so we shall take $result. Result is going to store a command of SQLi query. SQLi query, and this query is going to take two parameters. The query takes two parameters. It takes the connection, okay, but you realize that the connection has already been returned, and to get access to the returned value, we echo, or we copy the function for the DB connection, and that's what we shall put there. Then comma, then we shall take what carries the statement, copy, and then we put it there. Okay, so SQLi takes two variables for query. It takes the connection, then it takes the statement. Right, so that way you would be able to reuse the code. So that's all that we basically need. So the other part will be to ensure that to notify someone that yes, the data has been successfully captured. So if the dollar, if it is $result, meaning the result is true, if the dollar is result, the result is typically true, meaning the result, the data has been captured successfully, then we can echo category captured successfully. Okay, so save changes made. Suppose it has not been captured successfully. Can we get the result? Can we get the message still? So we shall use the else. Else echo result category entry failed. Say sorry, category entry failed. Sorry. We want to have that courtesy of telling you category failed. Success. Okay, it has failed. And then save changes made. Okay, so we basically need now to fire or to trigger this function to be executed. Okay, so that means every time we click at a button, this is fired. Every time we click at a button, this is fired, or it is triggered off. All right, so let us code that there. All right, if the button is clicked at, remember the button is set. If is set, what is set? The button is set. If the button $ using the method of post, if the button is set, what was the name of the button? We need to go and make reference. The button name is BTN cuts. Okay, so when we are coding this, we mean we need to check if this button is clicked at, then the code runs. Every time we click at the button, the code runs. So that button is that name. So if we click at that button, then we run starting from that point to this point, to the end of my statements, to that point. Okay, so we need that every time if is set, the button is clicked at. Okay, we have open, we have closed, but we have not closed the extreme. Okay, so if the button is clicked at, then this code is fired, or it is triggered off. Okay, that's what we intend to do. Okay, so on click at a button, let me just comment this. On click of the button, the code is fired off. Okay, so the code is fired off, and what is fired off is adding data to the database table of categories. This code, every time we click at the button, this code is really triggered off. Okay, all right, so let us now take this to always be in a listening mode. So copy, then we shall copy it to our index page. We want to keep the system in the listening mode. Okay, so we shall just put our data there, paste it there. Okay, don't get worried about the database connection. The database connection is already been taken care of here. Okay, so let's check our data. There is no, when I browse in categories, when I browse, there is basically nothing. All right, and when I click, let me just do this so that I just pointed up there and I pressed enter, so that the page refreshes right from the beginning. All right, so I want to enter data. So my first category, drinks. Okay, let's be specific. Soft drinks. Okay, soft drinks, and the soft drinks will be in shelf from 1 to shelf 1 to to 2, shelf 1, 2 to 2. Okay, then I click at go or create. So it tells me undefined cuts. Sorry, category entry failed. Okay, so I have this issue to do with undefined cuts. So on line what? On line 22. Let's figure out what happened on line 22. This. Okay, so undefined cuts. I'm using a post method. Okay, and $post underscore and then cuts. Where do I have the cuts? Cuts is coming from the interface. This. Oh, I have an issue. So cuts. Press enter and then save changes. All right. Let's try again and see. We have soft drinks. We have shelf 1, and then we click at create. Oops, it has again failed. Okay, sorry, category entry failed. Oh my god, what's wrong? So let me find out on the question and if we see. All right, we have an issue, and our data is not getting to our database. It's because we have not yet specified which database we are working with. Okay, so even if we try to add the soft drinks to our database, our soft drinks will not go. Okay, it just gives us the same error all through. The issue is with the selection of the database. We did not specify which database we are looking at. So the best way to do that, we need to look at which database are we working with. The database is called My Shop. Okay, so My Shop should be there. My Shop. Okay, once you do that and you fire you do your data entry again. Okay, okay, so right now my categories has nothing. All right, it has nothing, and I enter soft drinks on shelf 1 up to now shelf number 2, and then I click go. So it says category captured successfully. So when I check my database, you realize that up there I have, when I click at browse, I should be able to see the first entry, which is 1 soft drinks on shelf 1 up to shelf number 2. And that's the way we enter data into the database. All right, so the next chapter is going to help us know how to retrieve this data as we enter, and then we retrieve it off.